I don't know why, but I noticed that usually when I talk about Mastercard, I get around 2,000 to 3,000 views. Like, that is insanely low. And I used to get like 15,000 to 20,000 when I talked about this topic. All of a sudden, I barely get any reach when talking about payment processors. And I thought that, okay, well, maybe I just got boring. Maybe I've became like the quartering and people just don't like me anymore. But that doesn't explain why when I talk about other topics, I do get views. It's just like this particular one. And so it's like, okay, well, maybe people don't want to hear about payment processors and video games anymore. But then I go to Twitter and I see that it's trending. It's like, no, this is a pressing issue. The mainstream media is talking about it. Like, everyone is discussing it. It's just that when I talk about it, I don't get a lot of views. So maybe I need to have better coverage, huh? Maybe I need to talk about more interesting topics regarding this in order to get the views up. But still, if you're watching it, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm really curious to see how popular this video is going to be. Because I'm starting to believe shenanigans are afoot. You know what they say, once it can happen, twice it's a coincidence, but 3 times it's enemy action. And when you see that other companies are actually pressured in order to suppress this conversation, well, I can assume that maybe Riot isn't the only one. I heard Overwatch was doing it, and now I hear that Riot is also trying to suppress any type of conversation about Mastercard, which is fascinating. Now, if you're wondering as to why, maybe you're a little bit late to the party and you don't know, there are a couple of nations on planet Earth that are trying to censor the internet. The UK is one of them, Australia is another. And so they claim that it's to protect children, but in reality it's to also protect conversations like immigrations, protests, Wikipedia. Apparently that vile porn site is going to be censored by the UK. And so you can understand that there's a lot of interests afoot. Right? Like, governments actually want to control what adults see on the internet, and they also want adults to dox themselves. And in order to cause this moral panic, in order to amplify the fear-mongering, certain politicians in UK and Australia started bitching about a video game called No Mercy. And this video game was on Steam, and it was a video game, from what I understand, a person that was in a marriage, has the woman divorcing him, taking his wealth, and he starts doing rapé in revenge towards what's happening, right? Now, this video game barely had any players initially. Like, barely anyone was even considering playing it. Wasn't that interesting. But then activist groups decided to point to it, and British and Australian politicians started getting upset about this game. They talked about it, and eventually the game got pulled off Steam. But this opened the conversation about the horror that Steam is. So, like, there's other games with other themes that are problematic. And so Steam was contacted by the payment processors and was told to remove those games or else they get deplatformed. And so people started saying, well, hold on a little bit. Like, are those games illegal? And the answer was no, because Steam isn't selling video games that are illegal. Steam is very careful to make sure that the video games it's selling are actually able to be sold in the countries in question, but also they go an extra mile that even if the game was legal in a nation, if it has characters that look like minors, like if it has fictional characters that look 17, Steam is not going to sell that game. And so, like, Steam was already doing everything required in order to comply. But that wasn't enough for the payment processors. And they said, like, no, you're going to actually start banning games that don't fit our terms of service, or else we're going to cut payment. And this is where the whole controversy began, where gamers started getting upset and phoning Visa and Mastercard and doing various activist techniques in order to try to convince the payment processors to backpedal. And to say, well, hold on a little bit. You can't have, like, the same terms of service that's applied to real people and real actors when making pornography to stuff like video games that in most cases are artistic. They have a story. They have gameplay. Like, you can't, talk about bestiality and banning it when it comes to video games because, like, how big is the dick of a centaur supposed to be? Right? Like, how large are the anime dragon waifu's tits allowed in such a video game? Like, it's ridiculous, right? It's one thing when you're talking about interactions with real actors, right? Like getting a dog there, like, obviously. But it's another thing when you're talking about pure fiction and fantasy, like elves and dragons and shit. It's like, come on, right? And so Mastercard issued a statement saying that, no, we're not banning art. We're not censoring anything. When apparently they do. Like, readers added context, and they pointed out that not only do they censor video games, but there have been books. Like someone taking a pencil and writing words on a piece of paper that the payment processors didn't like. And they're also pointing out how ambiguous this network of censorship is. Because, like, yeah, Visa doesn't actually go around and tell Steam what games to remove. They just have, like, their terms of service on the website. And then you have, like, the payment processors and the intermediary banks. And any one of them on the chain can basically tell Steam, it's like, hey, you have, like, some problematic content there that violates Mastercard's TOS, get rid of it. And then it's up to Steam to start censoring. And what usually happens is that platforms like Steam or itch.io, they over-censor. And you end up with video games that aren't even pornographic in nature, like, for instance, Fear and Hunger, getting removed from itch.io because the platform genuinely doesn't know whether or not the payment processor is fine with a horror game. And this is what infuriates gamers. And so, like, gamers are talking everywhere, and apparently even Riot, which operates the video game League of Legends, is accused of blocking discourse that has to do with Mastercard in their chat. Now, the reason we know this, we know from Anna, which, they had her entire controversy with Kirsche, and we're not going to go into that. But they also worked on Vice. And so if they worked on Vice, it is true that they may have sources, right? And one of the sources apparently told them that, look, Mastercard is pressuring Riot to censor any type of discussion regarding this controversy. And I don't know, like, I guess people should test it, right? Like, there are people that actually did go on Twitter and said, yeah, like, I was talking about it, and all of a sudden, I got in trouble. Now, the publication, right, I'm reading from MSN here, they're basically saying that Riot has no obligation to listen to Mastercard. And in a way, they're right. Like, they do not have any obligation to police the chat. But, like, what happens if you don't listen? Let's say you tell Mastercard to fuck off. What's to stop Mastercard from saying, yeah, we noticed on your website that you're sexualizing minors. Like, your Jinx outfit is too sexualized, so we can cut down payments. Or, at the very least, they can give them bad publicity, right? Like, they can give them bad press. Like, for those of you who don't know, League of Legends has various costumes for their characters. And some of their characters are young and other characters are older. But the video game started at a time when people would view this as nonsense. It's like, dude, it's just like a cartoon shit. It's like, who the fuck cares? You know, like, you have a character named Annie. Okay, and she's got like the goth look, like it's goth Annie. And if you don't think about it, it's like, well, it's artistic, right? Like, they doodled a kid that manages to cause pyromancy and burn everything around. And she has like this monstrous bear that comes out from the flames of hell. And now, like, they put a goth theme on her, right? People wouldn't look into that too much. But now, oh, well, it's hypersexualized, like the goth look and all of that. You know, like, you do have, like, people that are from a mental asylum that do make these arguments. And so you do live in a different culture, different context. And so all it takes is for Mastercard to find a couple of examples, or for an activist group that's ill-intentioned, to find a couple of skins that Riot has. They go to Mastercard and kick up a fuss. Now, will Mastercard respond? Well, it depends. Have you policed your chat? If you policed your chat, Mastercard can say, well, all of that is nonsense. Like, obviously, it's nonsense. You know, like, the activist groups, they're not making any sense. If you didn't police your chat, well, Mastercard takes it seriously. I mean, horrible. How can you do that to Annie? And then they can decide the censorship, right? Now, none of the skins are pornographic, but, like, some people can see that they're hypersexual is the word that's being used today. And it's not just Annie, like Jinx, right? Jinx has no titties, like, she could be 17. And there you fucking go, right? Like, are there skins that sexualize Jinx? Yes. Or Zoe. Or any of the other characters that League of Legends has, which look 17. Like, again, it doesn't have to look like a 5-year-old. It can look 17. If it looks 17... even if they're not in the lore, or there's no suggestion that they may be. Like, the very fact that the visage is of such a nature that someone could look at them and say, well, this is a 17-year-old girl, and she's wearing a skin in the video game, which makes her look sexually appealing, Mastercard can step in. Well, it's not even Mastercard that will step in. Any payment processor, right? Like you can have PayPal, you can have anything that's connected to Mastercard. Because like Mastercard can tell PayPal, it's like, hey, this one is breaking TOS. Like step in and fix it. And then PayPal will give a vague message to Riot. And so yeah, like if Mastercard tells you you need to cock, and you're a big company and you require payment processors, like most companies will cock. So I do believe it. Still, really, really nasty situations we're in. Like the fact that this conversation is even taking place is really sad. But it is what it is. Like hopefully there's going to be some resolution to it. I do think like if they're constantly fucking with gamers all the time, eventually someone is going to find a way around it. Because necessity is the mother of all inventions. And gamers, like we're talking about billions of people. And it's enough to piss off even 1% of them so that people try to find solutions and alternatives. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. It's very important. I mean, I'm curious if this video is going to get views. I'm legitimately curious because I want to see if this particular topic is upsetting the algorithm or not.